apologies about the delay then. It was just a minute or so of stream delay as it was setting up. Oh, welcome on this very chilly January morning. And I hope that you're keeping well and you have a warm beverage to help you through the morning. I'll start by saying that unplanned moments are always better than planned ones. Specifically, unplanned getaways. Kind of something out of the blue always makes for a great memory. That's pro tip number 1 of the day. So a few words by the ancient sage. Some people are eager to correct you factually about details according to what they think are facts, but show little inclination to understand your larger point. They are the ones who mistake the trees for the forest and miss general truth by drowning themselves in petty details. Okay, and our first article is by Wired UK, in which next week 3D printers developed in collaboration with Google Arts and Culture will recreate some of the artwork that was destroyed by ISIS in Mosul Museum in 2015. It won't replace them, but it is the first step towards rebuilding the country, which is awesome, absolutely awesome. So courtesy of 3D technology, which we now have developed, they're able to recreate some of the exhibits that were destroyed during this atrocious war. I think that's wonderful. And following that up is an article by Time Health. Aspirin lowers your chances of a heart attack, but it's not safe for everyone else. I just want to verify the source material on this before I just speak on it. I just want to see where the study is. And the study is published in JAMA, and the research is led by Dr. Sean Zhang at King's College London. I found that the risk of aspirin taken regular, as in daily, can cause the bleeding of the stomach and the intestinal tract, and has about equal benefits in lowering the risk of heart events in people who do not have heart problems. So essentially it's a 50-50 thing. I'll commend a review. Thank you for the kind words. Okay, I've just discovered actor Will Smith was offered the role of Neo for The Matrix, but turned it down to make Wild Wild West instead. Anyone who grew up during that era, I think, has that song forever seared into the memory of Wiki Wild Wild West. It wasn't a very good movie as far as I'm concerned. Okay, and I just discovered that in 1808, 2 Frenchmen held a duel in the skies by both riding their own hot air balloons and shooting at each other's balloon. Now that does sound like something from Wild Wild West. But yeah, this is apparently due to it was due to trying to win over a woman's heart. Two Frenchmen decided to duel it out in a balloon duel. And that was scheduled for the 3rd of May 1808. Apologies. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay, and I just discovered that only 8% of the world's currency exists in physical form. The rest exists only on a computer. And that comes up in money.howstuffworks.com. It's the source material of that. A few words from the Stoic Emperor. Finding information is easier than ever. Filtering information is harder than ever. We are bombarded with irrelevant data and unsolicited stimulation. Choosing what to ignore is as important as choosing what to pay attention to. And a few more bits of wisdom by the Stoic Emperor. Nothing hurts like the truth. If we are forbidden to offend, we are commanded to lie. Most truths will be offensive to someone. Polite lies can do as much damage as malicious ones. Yeah. And it is fruitless to wish you had started years ago. In the future, you will have wished you started now. Don't wish, act. Okay, a few odd fun facts. In 1865, the US Secret Service was first established for the specific purpose to combat the counterfeiting of money. That was the first purpose of the US Secret Service. At the 1960 Winter Olympic Games, Walt Disney was head of the committee that organised the opening day ceremonies. And the last fun fact, the full name of the Titanic ship is RMS Titanic, which stands for Royal Mail Steamship. Okay, and we have an article here by the SciPost.org, and it says research is revealing many ways that we can reduce the risk of dementia. I had a quick look into this article last night, and essentially it breaks down into 3 parts to reduce the risk of dementia in life, later on in life. And this was an article by Nicole Anderson, the Associate Professor of Geriatric Psychiatry at the University of Toronto. And essentially they talk about the risk factors early in life, that children born at low weight for their gestational age are roughly twice as likely to have that the symptoms of dementia later on in life, especially those of a low socioeconomic position, are more likely to have late life memory decline. And they believe it's due to poorer nutritional opportunities, but that seems like a very large assumption to me anyway, you know. The second point was to work and play hard in middle age. There is substantial evidence that people who engage in paid work that is more socially or cognitively complex have better cognitive functioning in late life and lower dementia risk. So, and and likewise engagement in cognitively stimulating activities in midlife, such as reading and playing games, can reduce dementia risk by 26% apparently, as well as your usual physical exercise as well. And the last one is to stay social and eat well in your later years. Seniors who are at genetic risk for developing Alzheimer's disease are less likely to experience cognitive decline if they live with others, are less lonely, and feel that they have social support. And they throw up the idea of a Mediterranean diet as well. Olive oil, fish, vegetables, legumes, fruit, etc. Which is kind of common sense, I guess. They do go on to talk about Ronald Reagan briefly, but I'm not going to touch in too much on that. The article is up on sidepost.org though. Always help someone. You might be the only one who does. Thank those who help you, appreciate those who love you, help those who need you. Okay, the emotion machine comes in with an article on how to stop being jealous of other people's successes. We might have all felt the green-eyed goblin at some point in our life. I know I would have done in my late teens, early 20s, as developing my emotional capacity. But essentially, the article talks about paying attention to your envy reflex. There can be wisdom behind envy and jealousy. What are the things you tend to get most jealous about? That can be a valuable sign pointing you in the areas in your life that you need to put more focus in. So let me just expand briefly on the article. So the article also mentions about healthy tips to minimize any jealousy that you might be feeling, because jealousy is such a natural thing. I mean, for me, I think I experienced it with, say, touring opportunities that other bands were getting versus what my band wasn't getting at the time. So, so friends' bands were getting to go overseas, and we'd been kind of grinding on the same sort of toilet circuit in the UK for a long time, and I didn't take any accountability for making the changes towards my own goals. I just kind of was jealous about it and sulking about it myself, which in retrospect is completely ridiculous. But there you go, you need time to grow in order to understand those things. But you see, the motivation came out of that, and eventually I managed to get overseas and tour. So healthy tips to minimize your jealousy. Accept your jealousy. Jealousy is natural, it happens. Be honest about your feelings. Be honest about your slightly bruised ego when you see people do things you wish you could do, to try to avoid comparing yourself. Remind yourself that everyone is on a different path in life. We all have some strengths, some weaknesses, but those don't define us as a complete individual. See value in yourself without having to feel superior to anyone. Reframe jealousy as inspiration. That's a really good one, actually. The truth is, you feel strongly because someone has done something that you didn't accomplish for yourself. That can fuel jealousy, but it can also fuel inspiration and motivation. Instead of downplaying someone's accomplishments, think to yourself, if they can do it, I can do it too. which is a growth mindset, I reckon. Compliment people's successes. You know, it's of good character to do that, essentially. Celebrate with them, be happy when they are happy. It's a whole lot healthier and less stressful than being a hater, essentially. Pay attention to your envy reflex. This is the last point. There can be wisdom to envy and jealousy. What are the things that tend to get you most jealous about? Those feelings can be a valuable sign pointing you towards areas in your life that you need to put more focus in. A couple of quotes by Psychology Living. One reason the concept of becoming better can scare us is that it requires us to step out of a place that we recognise and have possibly grown comfortable with. Yeah, complacency. Complacency. And the second quote is, a clever person solves a problem, a wise person avoids it. And that's actually by Albert Einstein, sorry. Mindfulness wellness comes in to say, be strong enough to stand alone, smart enough to know when you need help, and brave enough to ask for it. Definitely one of my own weaknesses is not asking for help when I need it. Learning to get better at it, but yeah, standing alone and recognizing that you need help are relatively easy concepts, I think, for a lot of us, even though the task is quite difficult. But asking for help is sometimes the hardest one. And another Einstein quote is, you never fail until you stop trying. So, okay, we have motivational quotes coming in with 4 agreements. And the text is a bit shoddy on this. Number 1, be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about other people. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. Number 2, don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dreams. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Number 3, don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just one agreement, you can completely transform your life. And the last point, always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. Yeah. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick, absolutely. Under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse and self-regret. And that involves coming from a place of kindness, I feel, like doing your best, but understanding that you've done everything that you can within your capability, whether it's keeping a relationship going, whether it's putting in extra time at work. You can rest easy knowing that you've done your best. I'm not going to go into that. It's too much right now, I think, for a morning stream. Okay. So what have we got? Mind, body, and healing comes in with the rules of life. Be adaptable. Learn to say no. Patience is a virtue. Hard work always pays off. Fail fast, fail early, fail often. Stay away from toxic people. Giving is better than receiving, and don't let others' opinions hold you back. Now, real words comes in with love is sweet when it's new, but sweeter when it's true. And believe with your eyes and not your ears. Okay, now we have the article coming in. Excuse me a second. Streaming seems to be buffering. Let me see if I can get that on the go. Just getting back online here, guys. Bear with me a moment. Slight technical hitch. There we go. Apologies about that. There was a slight technical hitch. I'll streamline the videos, the VOD videos afterwards. Okay, so dogs can be trained to detect malaria. Freya is trained to sniff the socks of children in Gambia who have malaria. Hang on a second, let me come back to the beginning of this article. So, yeah, this pup sniffs out malaria. Freya's trained to detect disease by smelling the socks. By testing new socks of children in Gambia, they were able to find that dogs are able to detect the difference between the socks that have been worn by children who are infected with the parasite and children who are malaria free. The Medical Detection Dogs is a British charity to detect human diseases by scent alone. Dogs have up to 300 million olfactory receptors and a brain region dedicated to analysing smells. That's 40 times greater than ours, making them one of the world's most powerful sniffers. Like other diseases, malaria gives off a distinct odour, and so essentially that they are training dogs to sniff out malaria in terms of being able to recognise it so that the disease doesn't spread so much. And that article comes in from Digital Health and Wellness, but from the Seeker specifically, which is great. And then to follow it up with Amazon has just started selling an entire hospital room online for $285K. That's in dollars. I'm just going to click on the article to expand it, just so I can check out the source material as well. And this comes in from Fox Business. It was published on the 26th of January. And it says Amazon sells just about everything on this massive online platform. Yes. But now they have entire ready-to-go hospital rooms as well, produced by EIR Healthcare and known as the Med Modular. The product has been dubbed the world's first smart hospital room in a box. And yeah, Amazon has listed it for $285K. That's in dollars. And there's a link on the webpage itself, on the article itself. And it says, they quote, they can deliver anything to hospitals, from toilets to syringes to gauze. The EIR Healthcare CEO, Grant Geiger, told Fox Business, what we're doing is expanding that definition further to include real estate. Geiger said they anticipate that hospital facilities will buy the 350 square feet rooms, which include the bed and full bathroom. They're also compliant with building code specifications. So, yeah, interesting. So they're selling hospital rooms online now. And the last article is from the BBC. I saw this one just before I went to bed last night. It was too good not to share. The GM chickens, so GM, genetically modified, I'm assuming, chickens that lay eggs with anti-cancer drugs. Researchers have genetically modified chickens that can lay eggs that contain drugs for arthritis and some cancers. The drugs are 100 times cheaper to produce when laid than when manufactured in factories. Researchers believe that in time production can be scaled up to produce medicines in commercial quantities. The chickens do not suffer and are pampered compared to farm animals, according to Dr. Lisa Heron of Roslin Technologies in Edinburgh. She goes on to say that they live in very large pens, fed and watered and looked after on a daily basis by highly trained technicians, and live quite a comfortable life. As far as the chicken knows, it's just laying a normal egg. It doesn't affect its health in any way. It's just chugging away, laying eggs as normal. Now, let me just go into some more details. So, many diseases are caused because the body does not naturally produce enough of a certain chemical or protein. Such diseases can be controlled with drugs that contain the deficient protein. These drugs are synthetically produced by pharmaceutical companies and can be very expensive to manufacture. Dr. Heron and her colleagues managed to reduce the costs by inserting a human gene which normally produces the protein in humans into the part of the chicken's DNA involved with producing the white in the chicken's eggs. After cracking the eggs and separating the white from the yolk, insert your yolk joke there, Dr. Heron discovered that the chicken had relatively large quantities of protein. The team has focused on two proteins that are essential to the immune system. One is IFN alpha 2A, which has powerful antiviral and anti-cancer effects, and the other is macrophage CSF, which is being developed as a therapy that stimulates damaged tissues to repair themselves. So that's quite exciting. The article expands further, and that's on the BBC website, and that went up last night by Palab Ghosh, and that's under the Science and Environment section. So hospitals being built and sold by Amazon, genetically modified anti-cancer drugs that have been laid by chickens, and dogs that are sniffing out malaria. Those are some of the headlines on the Daily Roundup. I thank you so much for stopping by today, and sorry for the intermittent stream buffering and the stream cutting in and out. I'll do my best to streamline the VOD. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you in tonight's ASMR video. Thank you again. Take care. Bye.